let's return to earlier stories about the World Fisheries Day being today, 21st November, celebrated around the world by fishing communities. In a recent United Nations study, it reported that more than 2/3 of the world's fisheries have been overfished or are fully harvested, and more than 1/3 are in a state of decline because of factors such as loss of essential fish habitat, pollution, and global warming. The World Fisheries Day helps in highlighting the critical importance to human lives of water and the lives it sustains, both in and out of water. One of the challenges confronting fisheries in Ghana is cycle. But let's speak to, but we're asking, what has the country done in tackling cycle and what has been achieved so far? Joining us on Zoom is the National Convener for Fisheries Alliance Ghana, Kojo Brace. Thank you so much for joining us. What is the state of fisheries today in Ghana?
Yes, thank you very much. The state of fisheries in Ghana, as we know, has not been too good, and there are measures being put in place to try to address them. What I mean is that the fisheries is being overfished to the extent that most fish resources have declined. Those days we used to have bumper harvest, and in the season you see sardinella, popularly known as eban or amane, everywhere. Now, for some years now, you don't see it. That is a typical sign that our fisheries are near collapsed. And it is because of these reasons that government and stakeholders have even advocated for closed season to be introduced to try to get the stock to be conserved so that they can spawn and then we can reproduce. So in Ghana, the fisheries sector is in a steep decline. And if much is not done in the near future, we may not have fish as we see. And Ghanaians, as we know, consume a lot of fish, and the per capita consumption of fish is high. And also it creates employment for a lot of the fishing coastal communities. In fact, when you take fishing away, there is nothing else. So fish is very important for the Ghanaian economy. So today being World Fisheries Day, the day that we rehash the importance of fisheries, we discuss the challenges, and then we all collectively look at what are the solutions. What can we collectively
So once we are talking about fisheries, one major challenge confronting, or which used to confront the fisheries sector, is cycle, or what cycle? What is the state today? How is cycle still impacting on the fisheries sector as we speak?
Yes, let me just say that when we discuss about cycle, we talk about the illegal transshipment that from industrial trawl to canoes, or fish that trawlers are not supposed to catch, that they catch. We mean the small pelagic fisheries or the eban that we all know, and then we deny our local fishers of these. What we know now is that the cycle as we speak in illegal transshipment is not happening. And then because also of directives that have been put in place for all trawlers to relook at their fishing gears, and also additional directive being put by Ghana Maritime Authorities that most trawlers have not been able to respond to, so they are not actively fishing as we speak now. But the most concern is that the level of juvenile fishes that are harvested as part of, in quote, the bigger cycle discussion, and also the juvenile fishes that are harvested, and there's small pelagic fisheries that are harvested by the trawlers, which should be available for the multitude of fishermen and us as a nation, because that is what we depend on. We call it the people's fish. That has been the discussion on how we can strengthen measures to address it. We are very happy that the gear directive has come to ensure that trawlers do sort of a modification of their gears or review certain construction diameters to ensure that their gears reduces the volume of juvenile fish and the volume of small pelagic fish that they use to harvest. And when this gear directive is fully implemented, we would now know how these new gears are responding, whether they are really reducing the volumes of juvenile fish harvested and small pelagic harvested, and making them now available for our local fishers. So this is yet to be fully implemented. So we hope that once they are implemented, we can see the results as we want them to be. Without protecting the small pelagic fishes and the juvenile fish, we will be fishing down the drain. What that means is that we would gradually lead to a total collapse of the fishery because there will not be any fish left to spawn or not be any fish left.
But if I understand you,
produce.
If I understand you, the small pelagics that the big vessels bring, they do land the fish at Tema. So it means that there is no challenge there, or is there something that the country is losing because of that practice?
The challenge there is that though they are landing in Tema, they are landing in Tema, and they are being inspected. The challenge is that the juvenile fish and the small pelagic fish is still, that they are not supposed to harvest, is still being harvested or is still being landed. And we will need to address that element. And that is why we are happy that a new directive, a gear directive, has come up so that the trawl will now use and apply this new directive, and then we'll see a reduction in the juvenile fishes. Because even though you are landing legally, the content of the land includes some illegal fish because you are not supposed to land juvenile fish. There's a prescribed size of length of fish that you are supposed to land, and most of them are below that. So that is a challenge that we are hoping that this new directive will address. Why am I saying we are hoping? The new directive is yet to be fully implemented, and the fishers go to sea and then use those gears, come up back on land, and we see now the composition of the fish that is now landed by them to see whether we have been able to adequately deal with the small pelagics and the juvenile fish in the landings of the trawlers.
Okay, all right. I'm grateful, Kojo, for joining us. He is the national convener for the Fisheries Alliance Ghana.